Today, it feels like we are facing an unprecedented amount of insurmountable environmental challenges. But people are smarter, better connected, and more engaged than ever before. Citizen science is an important process that brings everyday people into scientific research. And now is the time to elevate the value of citizen science, to reclaim our planet, and create a sustainable future. Let's start with the bees. World Honeybee Day came and went, but it wasn't a celebration. Over 40% of the world's insect species are in decline, and thanks to science, we already know why. Habitat loss, pollution due to pesticides, invasive species, and climate change all play a role. But professional scientists alone can't collect all of the data from neighborhoods to national parks to understand exactly how bee populations are changing and where. And peer-reviewed publications alone aren't going to be enough to drive the change that we need. One obvious solution to both challenges is bringing people into the process through citizen science. Through crowdsourcing, citizen science can help collect more data from more places than possible before, including on private property. Citizen science can also help tell people what's going on. Citizen science can also be an opportunity for citizens to educate scientists, because you probably know more about what's happening in your backyard than a university researcher does. Conversely, citizen science is an opportunity for people to put on science-tinted lenses. They can learn more about the topic that they're studying and gain more experience with the scientific research process. Finally, through opportunities for individual action and working together, people can start to use science to drive the change that the world needs. April 22nd, 2020 was the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. This was an opportunity for people to reflect on the first 50 years of organized environmentalism and think about what we can do for the next 5 decades. In recognition of this milestone, the Wilson Center, along with Earth Day Network and the U.S. Department of State, launched Earth Challenge 2020 as a new citizen science platform and global campaign with 2 complementary goals. First, we wanted to take advantage of Earth Day Network's global community to engage more people in citizen science than ever before. We built a new mobile app allowing people to take pictures of their environment, share them, label them, and then also access a toolkit called the What You Can Do resources. This toolkit highlights opportunities for individual behavior change as well as policy-oriented interventions like signing petitions to help strengthen the link between science and participation in citizen science and driving action. Second, recognizing that there are a ton of awesome citizen science projects already out there, we thought about how we could bring together existing citizen science data and add value to it. Through the use of tools like open data standards and open APIs, we started to create the Citizen Science Cloud as a one-stop shop for researchers, policymakers, and everyday people to access open citizen science information. We articulated these goals in 2017, but we didn't always know what to focus on. In 2018, we solved the problem by launching a global ideation challenge for people to tell us the most important research questions in human and environmental health. We got back responses from all 7 continents, including a research station in Antarctica. And from these responses, we came up with 6 major themes. One of them is how are insect populations changing, which brings us back to the bees. Earth Challenge 2020 focuses on 3 types of bees: bumblebees, carpenter bees, and honeybees. We picked these 3 types because they're relatively easy for volunteers to visually distinguish, are all important for different ecological reasons, and can be found in different places around the world. For starters, the mobile app asked people to take pictures of bees in their environment and provided what you can do resources, such as an information on how you can ban pesticides wherever you are. One of my favorite citizen science projects is called iNaturalist, which is an online community for biodiversity experts and just people who love biodiversity to share any picture of a plant, animal, or other organism that they found worldwide. iNaturalist has a lot of pictures of bees, They also have a lot of pictures of things that might be bees, but no one has classified them yet. As our first step in aggregating this data, we took information from iNaturalist as well as data from the Earth Challenge 2020 mobile app and put it on the same map to visualize where different species of bees could be found around the world and also where citizen science is already happening. This map lets us start to see citizen science as a patchwork quilt. Very few citizen science projects are as big as iNaturalist, but scientists still recognize the potential for using citizen science data from different sources to answer different research questions on national or global scales through data reuse. And this is also really promising when we look at reporting requirements for international benchmarks like the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. But not all of the data is always easy to find, accessible, or in a format that people can work with. This is the challenge that Earth Challenge 2020 is trying to solve through the Citizen Science Cloud. What does data aggregation mean to everyday people? At least two things. First, after you contribute through the app or through another project that we're working with, you can see your data point on the map. And it's part of a much larger community of people who have chosen to make science a part of their everyday lives and are becoming engaged in the same exact issues that you are. Aggregating data is also an opportunity to bring together different patchy data sets and create larger sources of information. We can then take that data and do a lot of fun things with it. For example, in the winter, we want to launch a major crowdsourcing campaign that first trains people on classifying bees through the app and then asks them to label images as bumblebees, carpenter bees, or honeybees. Essentially, what this accomplishes is taking a very large haystack of information and reducing it to smaller and more manageable piles of hay. We can then bring in experts, either from the professional community or just citizen scientists who have learned a lot already, and ask them to classify bees down to the species. Through this process, we hope to create some of the largest open environmental data sets that the world has. And while we're going to start with the bees, we can use these tools, the app and the open data, to be able to probe research questions in areas ranging from food security to plastic pollution. On Earth Day, we had a lot of really ambitious goals, including asking 1 million people to use the mobile application that COVID kind of got in the way of. But we pivoted, and honestly, I think it's made our project stronger. One of the things that we've done is built out the capabilities for image classification and different labeling. This isn't as exciting as finding bees in your environment, but it lets you learn about bees from the safety of your own couch and classify pictures while social distancing in line at the grocery store. Another thing that we're doing is focusing on our partnerships and starting to see the Earth Challenge 2020 resources as reusable tools that we can take to different communities and work with to understand and help answer the questions that matter to them. One existing partnership is with IBM and UN Environment around creating a global platform for monitoring marine debris that is powered with citizen science data. This platform can be used by any UN member state to use citizen science to report against progress for the Sustainable Development Goals. Equally exciting are conversations that we're having with different local communities. For example, we're talking with the Grand Canyon Trust about how we could do something using the Earth Challenge 2020 app that explores an important local issue, like how introduced honeybee populations are impacting different types of native bees. Whether Earth Challenge 2020, iNaturalist, or something else entirely, citizen science has at least 3 primary benefits. Through crowdsourcing, we can collect more data from more places than ever before. Citizen science also teaches volunteers about whatever it is that they're studying and is an opportunity for them to understand more about how science can actually work at a time when trust in science is dangerously low. Finally, using data and knowledge, people can start to organize and advocate for the change that they need, either individually or through collective action. The future of science is more open and more participatory. In the time that it takes to watch a TikTok video, you can take the first step in the scientific research process and ask, How can citizen science help me and my community drive the change that we need to see?